Both World Wars I and II shared some common factors like propaganda, war efforts, and alliances. Also, in both wars, the Germans sought dominance over Europe. Although the two wars can differ in the way that the wars began, as well as how they operated in terms of tactics, strategic war methods, as well as the technology involved.
Through the years 1914 and 1918, World War I happened. For those who can't count, that's 4 years. Causes of the war were ideologies and assassinations. There were conflicts between the Central Powers, Germany, Austria-Hungary, and the Ottoman Empire, and the Allied forces, France, Britain, Russia, Italy, Japan, which is not on the map, and the US, which is also not on the map. The Germans was led by Kaiser Wilhelm II. Wilhelm was also the last emperor of Germany. When the war ended, the Allies forced Germany to sign Treaty of Versailles.
World War II was a global war that ranged from 1939 to 1945, lasting for about 6 years, involving many of the world's great powers that forged two opposing military alliances. These alliances were the Allies and the Axis powers. Countries like Germany, Japan, Italy, Spain, and Bulgaria were amongst the Axis powers, as Great Britain, Poland, France, US, China, Russia, and Belgium were among the Allies. During this time, the Germans were led by Adolf Hitler.
Both wars did share many factors like the alliances involved, propaganda, and war efforts put forth during the wars. In both wars, Germany remained as an Axis power along Bulgaria. And as for the Allies, Russia, France, Great Britain, and the US and Belgium remained throughout both wars. In both wars, efforts of Germany to seek more power and dominance contributed to war, as many countries in both wars sought to prevent this. The ideal of militarism remained throughout both wars. Along the concept of gaining more power and the control in Europe. In addition to this, the consistent use of propaganda throughout both wars in order to boost war efforts between alliances remained as a method to support the alliances during the wars. In this photo, you'll see Uncle Sam, and you'll see that what the Americans want to say about Hitler.
Although both wars shared a handful of similarities, they did differ in methods of warfare, the eruption of the wars, as well as the technology and other factors. World War I began from the assassination of Archduke Francis Ferdinand of Austria, along with the ideals of militarism, imperialism, and nationalism. In contrast, World War II began with an economic and political instability in Germany. The rising powers of German dictator Adolf Hitler, along with his alliances with Italy and Japan to oppose the Allied powers, led to the eruption of the war. Methods of war drastically changed from trench warfare to the use of vehicles and modernized weapons.
In the video clip you just saw, you'll see that the use of trenches in World War I had a greater benefit for them.
Soldiers, sailors, and airmen of the Allied Expeditionary Force, you are about to embark upon the great crusade toward which we have striven these many months. The eyes of the world are upon you. The hopes and prayers of liberty-loving people everywhere march with you. In company with our brave allies and brothers in arms on other fronts, you will bring about the destruction of the German war machine, the elimination of Nazi tyranny over the oppressed peoples of Europe, and security for ourselves in a free world. Your task will not be an easy one. Your enemy is well-trained, well-equipped, and battle-hardened. He will fight savagely. But this is the year 1944. Much has happened since the Nazi triumphs of 1940 1941. The United Nations have inflicted upon the Germans great defeats in open battle, man to man. Our air offensive has seriously reduced their strength in the air and their capacity to wage war on the ground. Our home fronts have given us an overwhelming superiority in weapons and munitions of war, and placed at our disposal great reserves of trained fighting men. The tide has turned. The free men of the world are marching together to victory. I have full confidence in your courage, devotion to duty, and skill in battle. We will accept nothing less than full victory. Good luck, and let us all beseech the blessing of Almighty God upon this great and noble undertaking.
In the scene you just saw now, it was used as a propaganda to attract more U.S. citizens to go to war, and it showed us the improvement of weapons, especially on airplanes, and the usage of tanks, which helped the war and the technology advancement. German expansion was clearly an important cause of both the world wars. Though there were some major differences and similarities along with this, the usage of propaganda remained throughout as a form of motivation and a morale booster to increase war efforts among the alliances, as well as the alliances itself that persisted in both wars. Although along with these similarities came differences, like the improved military innovations and war methods, the causes of the wars did suffer and differ, as well as two different events caused these wars. And finally, our last clip to show the audience. Then it will be all over and you can watch the next project.
Dem Feind gelungen, die Front in breiter Formation zu durchbrechen. Im Süden hat der Gegner Zossen genommen und stößt auf Stahnsdorf vor. Der Feind operiert jetzt am nördlichen Stadtrand zwischen Frohnau und Pankow, und im Osten ist der Feind bis zur Linie Lichtenberg-Marsdorf-Karlshorst gelangt.
Mit dem Angriff Steiners wird das alles in Ordnung kommen.
Horst gelangt. Mein Führer, Steiner konnte nicht genügend Kräfte für einen Angriff massieren. Der Angriff Steiner ist nicht erfolgt.
Es bleiben im Raum Keitel, Jodl, Krebs und Burgdorf.